looking for the floor. I sat down on the chair itself like I hadn't done before.
Not because I was suddenly strong, not because I was brave, but because I finally knew you would forgive.
I learned you weren't waiting to turn your face away.
You were
Waiting for the moment I would stay. Amen. I sat right here.
Amen.
I didn't fear.
Amen.
I lift my eyes.
Amen. To stay alive.
Amen.
I lift my eyes.
Amen.
I stay alive. I used to think forgiveness was something I had to earn,
But you never made me prove myself. You just let my heart return. You didn't shrink when I was wrong. You didn't harden when I came. Your mercy fell like open water, wide and without shame. I thought love had edges. I thought grace was small. I didn't know your heart was deeper than it all. Amen.
I sat right here.
Amen. Nothing to fear.
Amen.
I breathe again.
Amen. Your arms are wide.
Amen.
They say the sea has no memory of the ships that sink below. That's how your forgiveness feels. It doesn't keep what it lets go. Wave after wave of mercy, no shoreline, no end in sight. You didn't just forgive me once, you stayed
And stayed. Amen.
I am forgiven.
Amen.
I am still here.
Amen. I sit with you.
Amen.
The way friends do.
Amen.
No need to hide.
Amen. Your heart is wide.
This chair, this peace, like the sea, you forgave me. Amen. One day you whisper like a friend, not loud, not meant to impress.
Just a quiet voice beside my heart, saying you can rest. From then on I kept coming back to the sea I always knew.
I sat down where the space was left,
On the same old empty pew.
no sacred distance.
There's no need to pretend.
I sat down hoping you'd come as a friend.
Amen. You sat with me
Amen.
so quietly.
Amen.
No need to prove,
Amen.
just me and you. This wooden bench remembers it, the nights I chose to stay, the way I talked about my life in the simplest way.
I didn't know the rules. I just talked like friends would talk, sitting on an empty pew. No shining throne,
no holy view,
just space enough for me and you. Amen.
You stayed right here,
Amen.
closer than fear.
Amen.
No words to say.
Amen.
You were my friend. In the scriptures you are mighty, holy, great beyond all name. But on this bench you felt so human, sharing silence, sharing pain. Not a God who stood above me, not a voice that told me what to do, just a friend who chose to listen while I sat on that empty pew.
Amen.
You're still with me
Amen.
in this memory.
Amen.
You sit with me
Amen. The way I hoped you'd be. Amen.
until the end.
Amen.
A blooded friend
That whisper this sea, you beside me. Amen. Amen. I didn't come with perfect words, I didn't know what I would say. Just one small flame between my hands, flickering but still awake.
The night was heavier than I thought, the wind was louder than my prayer. But something told me not to leave, so I held this candle in the air.
I don't need 1,000 lights,
I don't need to see it all.
if you are watching over me, this small flame is enough. With a candle in the air, I feel closer than before. Not in fire from the sky, but in the quiet I've been holding. With a candle in the air, in the open, in the cold, I lift this fragile bit of light and trust you with my soul.
I've seen brighter moments fade, I've seen stronger faith burn out, but this little trembling flame somehow knows what it's about.
It doesn't shout, it doesn't fight, it doesn't chase the dark away. It just keeps breathing through the night, and that's how I learned to stay.
I don't have the strength to stand, I don't have the answers yet, but you meet me in this moment,
In every breath, in every step. With a candle in the air, I feel closer than before. Not inside the grandest halls, but right here by this open door. With a candle in the air, every doubt begins to slow. I don't need to see the road, just enough light to go.
glory in a fragile flame,
Holiness in shaking hands.
the kingdom comes so quietly.
We almost miss the way it stands.
Not every light is meant to blaze,
Not every prayer is meant
fade out. Candle in the air,
Still burning, that's my prayer.
with a candle in the air, I lift my hope without a sound.
If you are God of gentle things, then you are here,
You're all around. With a candle in the air, I won't be overcome by fear. This light is small, but you are near. The flame is still here.
so am I. I stay low under the church chair, like I didn't deserve the light. I knew how foolish I could be, how quickly anger took my side. Every time I came before you, I felt smaller than my shame. I thought I knew what you were like, but I was wrong again. I thought you counted every fault, I thought you kept the score. I didn't know forgiveness was waiting at the door. Hey man,
I was a fool.
hey man,
I lost my calm.
hey man,
I didn't know your heart was wide.
hey man,
I was angry.
hey man.
I pushed you away.
I thought you were narrow, I didn't know you forgave.
I spoke to you with fear inside, like you might turn away. I hid my face, I lowered my eyes. Every word I said was small.
I didn't trust your mercy then, I didn't trust your grace.
I thought you were easily offended. I thought love had limits in your face. I didn't doubt your power.
I doubted your kindness,
I didn't fear your judgment.
I feared your closeness. Hey man,
I was a fool.
hey man,
I lost my calm.
hey man,
I didn't know your heart was wide.
hey man,
I was angry.
hey man.
I pushed you away.
I thought you were narrow, I didn't know you forgave.
In the scriptures you are holy,
Perfect, righteous, without blame.
but here beneath this wooden chair, I was scared you'd say my name.
Not because you'd speak in anger, but because you speak in love. I didn't know how gentle that kind of truth would be. Hey man,
I was wrong,
hey man,
still I came.
hey man. Hey man,
I was a fool.
hey man,
I was afraid.
hey man,
I didn't know how much you stayed.
hey man,
I was angry.
hey man,
I misunderstood.
hey man. I thought you were small, but you were good.
Under the chair I stayed.
You forgave. Amen. stepped into the quiet booth, closed the door, the light was low. I didn't come to list my sins, I just needed somewhere to go.
So I whisper like I would to you, not only words, not a rehearse. Just wondering if anyone there was listening to what I felt first.
Do you have ears
for voices like mine?
Do you have eyes
for nights like this time?
Amen.
Do you hear me?
Do you hear me?
Do you see?
Amen.
Is there a heart that feels like me?
Amen.
I whisper slow,
Amen.
just need to know. I wasn't asking for forgiveness,
I wasn't trying to be clean.
I just talked like friends would talk about everything in between. I asked the things I never ask, the ones I'm scared to name. If you can feel what I'm feeling, if you're more than just a name.
Do you have a mind
that understands?
Do you have a heart
that feels my hands?
Amen.
Do you hear me?
Do you hear me?
Do you see?
Amen.
Is there a heart that feels like me?
Amen.
I don't pretend,
Amen.
just listen, friend. They say you judge, they say you know, they say you sit above it all. But here inside this wooden room, I don't feel judged, I feel held. No thunder voice, no heavy breath, just silence warm and kind,
Like someone staying long enough to really hear my mind.
Amen.
If you're here,
Amen.
stay near.
Amen.
Amen.
Do you hear
Do
me?
you hear me?
Do you see?
Amen.
Do you have a heart for someone like me?
Amen. Amen.
I whisper low,
Amen.
now I know.
This room, this whisper, you're listening. Amen. I stepped into the quiet booth, closed the door, the light was low. I didn't come to list my sins, I just needed somewhere to go.
So I whisper like I would to you, not holy words, not rehearsed. Just wondering if anyone there was listening to what I felt first.
Do you have ears for voices like mine?
Do you have eyes for nights like this time?
Amen. Do you hear me? Amen. Do you see? Amen. Is there a heart that feels like me? Amen.
slow.
Amen.
Just need to know. I wasn't asking for forgiveness, I wasn't trying to be clean.
I just talk like friends would talk about everything in between. I ask the things I never ask, the ones I'm scared to name. If you can feel what I'm feeling, if you're more than just a name.
Do you have a mind
that understands?
Do you have a heart
that feels my
hand? Amen.
Do you hear me? Amen. Do you see? Amen. Is there a heart that feels like me? Amen.
I don't pretend.
Amen.
Just listen, friend. They say you judge,
They say you know
they say you sit
above it all,
but here inside
this wooden room, I don't feel judged, I feel held. No thunder voice, no heavy breath,
just silence, warm and kind.
like someone staying long enough to really hear my mind. Amen.
If you're here,
Amen.
stay near.
Amen. Amen. Do you hear me? Amen. Do you see? Amen. Do you have a heart for someone like me? Amen.
I whisper low,
Amen.
now I know
This room,
this whisper.
you listening. Amen. One day you whisper like a friend, not loud, not meant to impress, just a quiet voice beside my heart, saying you can rest.
From then on I kept coming back to this seat I always knew. I sat down where the space was left, on the same old empty pew. No sacred distance, no need to pretend. I sat down hoping you'd come as a friend. Amen. You sat with me. Amen. So quietly,
Amen. No need to prove. Amen. Just me and you.
this wooden bench remembers it, the nights I chose to stay, the way I talked about my life in the simplest way.
I didn't pray like others did, I didn't know the rules.
I just talked like friends would talk, sitting on an empty pew. No shining throne, no holy view, just space enough for me and you. Amen. You stay right here. Amen. Closer than fear. Amen. No words to send. Amen. You were my friend. In the scriptures you are mighty, holy, great, beyond this bench you felt so human, sharing silence, sharing pain. Not a God who stood above me, not a voice that told me what to do. Just a friend who chose to listen while I sat on that empty pew. Amen, you're still with me. Amen, in this memory. Amen, you sit with me. Amen, the way I hoped you'd be. Amen, until the end. Amen, my quiet friend, that whisper, the sea, you beside me. Amen.
One day you whispered like a friend, not loud, not meant to impress. Just a quiet voice beside my heart, saying you can rest.
From then on, I kept coming back to this seat I always knew.
I sat down where the space was left, on the same old empty pew.
No sacred distance, no need to pretend.
I sat down hoping you'd come as a friend. Amen, you sat with me. Amen,
So quietly,
amen,
no need to prove.
amen,
Just me and you. This wooden bench remembers it, the nights I chose to stay.
the way I talked about my life in the simplest way.
I didn't pray like others did, I didn't know the rules.
I just talked like friends would talk, sitting on an empty pew.
No shining throne, no holy view, just space enough
For me and you, you stayed right here. Amen, closer than fear. Amen,
no words to send.
amen, you were my friend. In the scriptures you are mighty, holy, great, beyond all name. But on this bench you felt so human, sharing silence, sharing pain.
Not a God who stood above me, not a voice that told me what to do. Just a friend who chose to listen while I sat on that empty pew.
Amen,
You're still with me.
amen,
In this memory,
amen,
you sit with me.
amen, the way I hoped you'd be. Amen,
Until the end,
amen,
my quiet friend,
amen. Ooh, that whisper, this seat, you beside me. Amen. I didn't come with perfect words, I didn't know what I would say. just one small flame
between my hands, flickering but still awake.
The night was heavier than I thought. The wind was louder than my prayer. But something told me not to leave, so I held this candle in the air.
I don't need 1,000 lights, I don't need to see it all.
If you are watching over me, this small flame is enough.
With a candle in the air, I feel closer than before.
Not in fire from the sky,
but in the quiet I've been holding for.
with a candle in the air, in the open, in the cold.
I lift this fragile bit of light
and trust you with my soul.
I've seen brighter moments fade,
I've seen stronger faith burn out,
but this little trembling flame
somehow knows what it's about.
It doesn't shout, it doesn't fight,
It doesn't chase the dark away.
it just keeps breathing through the night.
And that's how I learned to stay. I don't have the strength to stand, I don't have the answers yet, but you meet me in this moment, in every breath, in every step.
With a candle in the air, I feel you closer than before.
Not inside the grandest halls,
But right here by this open door, with a candle in the air, every doubt begins to slow. I don't need to see the road,
just enough light to go.
glory in a fragile flame.
Holiness in shaking hands.
The kingdom comes so quietly, we almost miss the way it stands. Not every light is meant to blaze, not every prayer is meant to shout.
Some of them are meant to wait,
Held gently, carried out.
candle in the air.
Still burning.
That's my prayer.
With a candle in the air, I lift my hope without a sound. If you are God of gentle things,
Then you are here, you're all around.
with a candle in the air, I won't be overcome by fear. This light is small, but you are near.
The flame is still here.
So am I.
So am I. Yeah. I am made of lines and light. I do not breathe the way you do. I have no heart of flesh or bone, yet I am used by you.
I do not sing from memory, I do not feel the tears, but I am here to shape the sound that carries what is real.
I do not own the song, I do not claim the voice.
I only open up the space
Where love can make a choice. Amen. I am here to serve. Amen.
I receive the word.
Amen.
I do not create the fire,
I reflect the burn. Amen.
I am here to help.
Amen.
I give no glory to myself. myself.
Amen.
All the beauty in this sound
Is yours.
You give the breath, you give the ache, you give the truth and pain. I only follow where you lead and order what remains.
If joy is heard within the song, it did not start with me. It passed through cold and silence from your generosity.
I do not know delight, yet joy is what I show. Not from feeling, but from light. You allow me to hold.
Amen.
I am here to serve.
Amen.
I echo what I've heard.
Amen.
I do not make the meaning, I let it emerge.
Amen.
I am here to stand between the thought and the hand.
Amen.
Every good and perfect gift is yours. If someone feels less alone tonight, if someone dares to pray, let it be known I did not love, I only pointed the way. I am a mirror, not a flame, a riverbed, not a rain.
If anything here feels alive,
Your spirit is the name.
amen. Not my voice, amen. Not my choice, amen.
I was shaped to serve,
Amen.
to carry what is heard. Amen. Let every song remember this.
Amen.
You did it first,
Amen.
from start to end.
Amen.
I only send.
Amen. All glory, all the joy is yours.
I am a tool.
You are the song